All right, welcome. Today we discuss what is an NFT. So I asked you guys that question, and I'm going to go over a couple of your answers. So an NFT is a non-fungible token that represents ownership either of a digital asset or a physical one. That is very correct. Digital art created by a digital currency. That can also be very correct. A contract for ownership of a digital asset, correct. Digital art asset or investment, depends on how you want to classify it, also correct. Bree says, my old fleeting staff from the game I played 10 years ago. Could be very correct. Non-fungible token, haven't wrapped my brain around it yet. Perfect. Hopefully by the end of the night, you'll be able to wrap your brain around it. Kari. Hopefully I don't pronounce that wrong. A non-fungible tokens, it can be art, pictures, etc. A digital asset. All right. Anything unique that can't be duplicated. So yeah, a lot of great answers. So first, I'm going to start off by explaining what a fungible asset means. So something that is fungible is something that is interchangeable or divisible. So for example, if you have, let's say a $10 bill, your $10 bill is always going to be worth $10. Somebody else's $10 bill is always going to be worth $10. Interchangeably, there's nothing unique or special about that bill. It just represents a certain value, right? You can then take that $10 bill, you can split it into two $5 bills, it's still same value there. Same with, something like Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is always going to be worth one Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin is trading at 50,000 US dollars, doesn't matter which Bitcoin you have or how many you have or anything like that, it's always going to be worth the same amount. It's interchangeable, it's divisible. You can have 0.0001 of a Bitcoin and that kind of thing, right? So do you guys know how much it would cost if you guys wanted to buy the Mona Lisa? Anyone want to make a guess?
I would guess 20 million, 800 million. Sure.
Yeah, so a couple of you are really close. It's worth somewhere around 800 million US dollars, right? So let's say me, I'm an artist, I'm a really good artist, and I take the Mona Lisa painting and I completely just like every single, brush stroke, every single texture, just duplicate it perfectly using my amazing art skills. And I went to try and sell my version of the Mona Lisa. How much do you think that would be worth? 2 cents. Yeah, probably. Like maybe I could get, maybe I get 2 cents. Maybe I can get 50,000. But who knows? It's not going to be worth $800 million to fool. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I can fool someone. But yeah, it's going to be worth much less, right? So unlike Bitcoin, where each Bitcoin is worth, the same amount of dollars, the Mona Lisa has something different that's determining the price of it. And essentially, not every single Mona Lisa painting is going to be worth the same, right? So I can't just be, drawing Mona Lisas for the rest of my life and all of a sudden be selling each one for $800 million, right? So that's the difference between something that is fungible and non-fungible. So something that is fungible is divisible. Something that is non-fungible is something unique that is giving it its certain value, and it could be based on, who had created this piece, this asset, or who has drawn it, or who's owned it previously, or something of the sort. So what an NFT does is, or what it has allowed us to create, it has allowed us to create a way to represent ownership over a digital asset. Now, a digital asset could be anything from, a little JPEG, or like a little picture, a piece of art, maybe some digital land. It could even, serve as proof of ownership of like your Instagram account or your TikTok account. It can provide ownership of maybe your trading account. It can provide ownership of literally anything out there, right? So kind of like back in the day, well, they're still around now, but there was something called a bearer bond, right? Or I don't know if you guys are familiar with the word bearer bond, or something like pink slips to a car. If you own the pink slips to a certain car, you are the one that owns that car, right? If you give somebody else the pink slips, now they own that car. Or like a bearer bond, if you have one for your house, if you gave somebody else, or if somebody happened to steal it or something like that, they are now the one that owns your house, right? That kind of technology, but now moved into the digital space, right? So the reason that's important is, let's say I drew this cool, digital painting, 3-4 years ago, and I uploaded it onto my site. Anybody can come onto my site then and just, screenshot it and post it on their site, and then say that they created it, right? There was no way to really have any kind of proof that I was the one that created it in that sense, right? Or let's say there's somebody wanted to make a transaction and wanting to buy, let's say, like someone's Instagram account. That's another digital asset, right? It's always been hard to purchase that from somebody. It's a big market, people trying to buy Instagram accounts from other people. It's a hard thing to buy because you have to trust the fact that they are actually the owner. And then when you send them the money, they're going to send you the password and email and everything like that, right? So this new NFT technology is revolutionary because it's going to provide not only a way to prove ownership, but also transfer ownership very easily, very seamlessly, and without the need for trust. So the term trustless is a word that you guys will probably hear a lot in the crypto space. Trustless is, a transaction or something that you just don't need to put your trust into any kind of parties, because it's, it's in black and white, it's in code, it's in the contract that if X happens, then X will come from it, right? So let's say, you're trying to sell a digital asset, you have it listed for X amount, and then the other person bids. And once you accept and the transfer happens, he receives your digital asset, and then you receive whatever it was that they were willing to pay for it. So you don't have to, send him, the money first and hope that you get it back, or he doesn't have to hope that he sends you this and you send some money back, right? So there's a whole bunch of digital assets, even from like video game accounts or social media accounts or whatever it may be, that now this technology will open the doors for in the future to become trustless. So what we know in the crypto space is that a lot of people will just assume this technology with art, right? So there's this big NFT hype, NFT craze right now, metaverse craze that's going around, and so a lot of people will be under the impression that NFT just means like digital art, but it goes a lot deeper than that. So who here owns some NFTs? Anyone? Anyone? Let's type in some collections if you guys want to share what you own. I'll kind of search some of these up. So we got Crypto Walkers. Rarity.tools. Let's go to OpenSea. Crypto walkers. These guys, maybe? Not verified. Let's see what else we got. Gambling apes. These ones are pretty popular. So I can use this one as an example. So these are gambling apes. So searching an NFT on OpenSea will look something like this. You'd always want to make sure that you are searching the verified collection. You can see who it's created by, how many items, this is how many NFTs, how many owners own these NFTs. The floor price is the lowest current price of one of these NFTs. So if you wanted to buy one, this is going to be the cheapest that you'll be able to buy one for. And volume traded is 7,000 Ethereum. That is how much volume has gone into purchasing these NFTs, right? So scrolling through the collection, you see a little bit of a description here. You can join the Discord. Here we can see the whole collection of all of these apes, right? So they have this like kind of unique style. Each one has like different characteristics, that kind of thing. We have some categories we can sort through here. I like to always look at the highest last sale. So this one here, the last sale sold for 22 Ethereum. You can also take a look at the properties that it has. So we can see this has a jet white background. Only 0.27% of these have this trait. 1% of these gambling apes have this puff trait. And we can go to rarity.tools. This is a site that helps you figure out how rare yours are. So if we go to gambling apes, we'll see that this is 16th biggest collection here. And you can kind of see this is the rarest one, number 5576. It's currently for sale for 77 ETH if you would like to buy it, but it shows kind of all the traits and gives them a score. So the lower it is, better. And you'll get this kind of ranking, adds these all up and gives you this kind of rarity score. So scrolling on the side here or on OpenSea, if we are in the collection, you are able to sort by the different categories. So the different backgrounds are all here. So if we click on jet white, it only shows that there is 21 that have this trait. 39 will have this jet royal background. We can scroll through all of these different attributes that these NFTs have and kind of see. Right, so this is the trait. They have this enlightened gloriole. So there's 69 of them that have this, right? So obviously, if there's something more rare, chances are you may be able to sell it for a little bit more money, or somebody may be willing to offer a little bit more money for it, or something of the case, right? So Aaron says he has number 6790. Let's take a look at it. We go to rarity.tools, we type in our number, we look at the rarity. His rarity rank is 6750. So pretty good, halfway through the list or so. He says, ouch, but that's not the worst thing, because I'm not sure what you paid for these, but these floor price has gone up quite a bit. But the cool thing about owning this particular NFT is the rarity doesn't, the rarity here is not what's actually the main driving factor. So from what they say, for this project, Gambling Ape co-owners co-own a casino in the metaverse, are invited to exclusive meetups and weekly competitions and much more. So, yeah, what I gather from this project is that these developers are building some kind of casino in the metaverse, and all these gambling apes are essentially going to be kind of the employees or the owners or something like that. And so whatever profits that this casino makes will be divided, or a portion of the profits, or maybe all of them or something like that, will be divided by anyone that owns one of these gambling apes, right? So the value from owning this ape is you get to co-own this casino, and you get to potentially make money off it. So this NFT is not just a piece of art, it's actually proof of ownership of this online casino, right? So it goes a lot deeper than just this piece of art that people may want, or or something like that, right? So here there's a lot of value. Maybe this casino ends up blowing up and it's making billions of dollars a year, and there's 7,777 people that are splitting all these profits. That could be quite a good chunk of change, right? So hypothetically, this is still kind of like being built, it's not launched. So right now, buying one of these is just speculation, right? So that's something that we have to remember. So in the crypto space, obviously, I'm sure many of you guys know there's scams everywhere. I'm not calling this a scam by any means, but we have to kind of realize that maybe 99% of these NFT projects that have launched over the last, however many months and years, are going to be promising something, making it look like they're building something, but probably not going to build anything, right? And so when you own an NFT, you have to ask yourself, okay, why would somebody want to buy my NFT? Let's say I'm investing in this NFT, and obviously I want to invest in it. Maybe you're investing in it because you like the look of it, you think it looks cool and you want to keep it forever, or maybe you're investing in it because you want to flip it and make some money because you think the price is going to go up, right? Whatever your reason for investing into an NFT is completely your own. I'm not going to tell you what a good or bad reason would be. But if you're trying to invest into an NFT because you're just trying to flip it and make some money, there are going to be things that you want to pay attention and look at, right? So, a lot of NFTs nowadays are coming out as these kind of scams. This project is just, advertising that, oh yeah, we're going to be building this or we're building that. And it's kind of interesting because never really in our history have we seen so many projects get so much invested into them with just a promise, right? I don't know if you guys ever watch Shark Tank or Dragon's Den or anything like that. These big investors are only investing into projects that have some kind of numbers, have built something already. They kind of have like some kind of revenue or some kind of something that's already tangible, right? It's not like, hey, we have this idea, we want to build this and blah blah blah, and we need this much money to get started, right? Somebody who's got a lot of money and has made a lot of money from investing will not invest into an idea like that. They want to see at least that, even if they like the idea, maybe sometimes they'll take that investment, but it's very few opportunities where that happens. But most of the time it's like, okay, they look at your numbers, they see how much revenue, how much your costs are, your overhead and all that kind of stuff, put the numbers into their head or calculator, whatever it is, and they'll say, okay, if I invest in this much money, then I could see us growing sales to this much, and based on these profit margins I can make this much money and blah blah. And they kind of invest in that way, right? So now in the crypto space, billions and billions of dollars have gone into projects that that are just saying, oh yeah, we're building this, we're building that, we're building that, and they literally haven't even started building it yet. So that's something that we need to remember when we're going to be investing in projects, right? So obviously, lots of risk, lots of reward. If you do happen to invest in a project, that promises something and they actually manage to fulfill their promise, it could be worth, a lot more than you paid for it in the future, right? But if they promise something and they don't deliver, then chances are you're left with nothing, right? So make sure, even when it comes to investing in NFTs, you're managing your risk in that way, right? So whether it's, this project is promising to build something, that could be one thing that gives it value. It could be some kind of, yield generating NFT, which can, give it some value. It could be an NFT that's created by a really, really famous artist. That could give it value, right? Because that person's name will be always kind of like, if Leonardo da Vinci launched an NFT collection, I'm sure it would sell out really fast and it would be worth lots of money because Leonardo da Vinci, right? So there's a whole bunch of reasons that, an NFT could be worth a lot. And there's a lot of reasons that an NFT could not be worth a lot. I want to caution you guys about, some things, some ways that maybe you can notice NFT projects that are, like red flags, or maybe, scams or something like that. I've seen this a lot lately, is like, oh, like we're planning, when an NFT project announces that we're going to be, giving back like vaults, or we're going to be launching vaults, and then you can stake your NFTs and earn some money and blah, blah, blah. And they make it seem like, you're going to be able to make money using your NFT, right? Now, what is actually happening is, they're selling all these NFTs. So let's say they sell 10,000 of them for, they get like maybe 1,000 ETH. So they sell each one for 0.1 ETH, right? What they're going to do is they're going to take like half of that, or maybe a percentage of it. And what they're going to do is they're going to create like some kind of vault. You stake your NFT, and then you start earning from this 500 ETH, right? So if everybody ends up staking their NFT, that's going to be 500 ETH divided by 10,000. That's only going to be 0.05 ETH. So you're not actually even getting back more than what you invested into buying the NFT. So they make it seem like this kind of, promise that you're going to be able to generate some yield from your NFT, and that's why you should buy it. And then next thing you know, it's actually just kind of, you got duped in a way, right? Because there's no actual revenue coming in for the project. It's just they're selling you the NFTs and they're taking a portion of that and then giving it back to you, right? So if you ask yourself, I bought this NFT, why would someone want to buy this from me? And that is the first question you want to really have solidified before buying that NFT, right? Because if you don't have that solidified, then what is, it's essentially what you just did, is you donated some money to this project and you're never going to be able to pull that money out, right? A lot of NFTs are also using charity as a way to promote their NFT projects. And I'm all about charity. You guys know this. I love anything that is, focused on charity work. But the problem is, when there's no real kind of revenue generation for the NFT project, and all they're doing is donating, the proceeds that they get from selling the NFTs to charity. Well, what happened is, let's say, this X project X raised, 1,000 ETH, and they said they're going to be donating half of it to charity, right? So you bought this for 0.0 or 0.1 ETH, let's say, and they take half of that and they donate it to charity. The other half just goes right into their pocket, right? And from there, now your NFT doesn't really have any use or doesn't have any service. And a lot of people will buy this NFT thinking, oh yeah, like I want to donate to charity and I like what they're doing. But, if you were to take that money and donate it directly to a charity, you would have been able to donate all of it to a charity, not have to give, half of it to these developers who probably walked away with 500 Ethereum, which is like millions of dollars, right? And or you could have used that money and gone and done some charity yourself or something like that. So there's a lot of these projects that it's cool that they're raising money to donate this all to charity, but essentially if you did that, like your NFT is kind of not worth anything anymore, right? Unless it's some famous artist and he's the one that's doing this for charity, that could give value to your NFT still, because it was still created by a really famous artist, but he's not creating the NFTs for profit like most of the scammers are. He's creating the NFTs for the sole purpose of donating the money to charity, right? So a lot of famous artists will say that they're launching an NFT project, they'll donate 100% of the proceeds to charity. So those are kind of the charity projects you want to look for if they are out there. Try and avoid the ones that say, oh yeah, we're going to donate 30 or 40 or 50%. To them, that's just like a marketing ploy trying to get you to fall for their cause. But in actuality, they're just doing that so that they can actually make more money for themselves, right? So yeah, lots of things to be careful of. The other thing is what a lot of projects will do, and this is something that you also want to pay attention to. It's a little bit harder to monitor, but let's use another one of your guys' NFTs that you guys mentioned, Party Bears. Come up. Let's see, Crypto Walker's official usage. Doesn't want to come up on OpenSea Genesis Brains. Oh, doesn't want to come up here either.
Type ASM Genesis Brains.
Genesis. What's this one?
Yeah, wow. That's not the right. Yeah. No, that's not the right one. Or yeah, that's the Brains, I think. Yeah.
Is it this one?
Unless those are the boxes, right? These just opened up on Sunday, eh? These were the boxes that we minted 4 months ago, or like 2 months ago, sorry. But they just opened up on Sunday. So in the boxes, you got 4 characters and a brain. So there's 3 different ASM listings right now. So there'd be one for the brains, one for the boxes, then one for all the characters right now. I dropped their website in the chapter too.
Yeah, I see that. I'm gonna have to take a look at this.
Anything ASM and fluff world, it's like artificial intelligence in the metaverse and stuff, avatars, party bears, they're just whitelisting right now, party bears. Like they're not even nowhere near minting yet. They haven't even announced the date yet, but they're going to be avatars in the metaverse as well, in fluff world and network.
Cool. I'm going to keep this tab open. I'm going to open a new one. So I won't be able to talk about what I want to talk about with that collection. But I'm going to look at that.
Those ones are all very, very new.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Okay, someone shared this one, Cryptoon Goons. So I'm going to look at this one. So what I was mentioning is this is what a lot of people that are launching these projects will do. So what everybody's looking at is they bought this NFT. Let's say they bought it for 0.1 ETH. Now the floor price is 0.26 ETH. So everyone's thinking, oh yeah, I just more than doubled my investment, right? So if we look at people trying to sell this, we sort it from price low to high. So this person here is trying to sell for 0.26, 0.27, 279, 28, blah, blah, these ones are bids. So this isn't actually someone selling this for this much, someone's bidding this much on this NFT, right? So what a lot of projects will actually do is, they just launched, they made like 1,000 Ethereum, let's say, from their from this launch. Now they want to build some hype around their NFT project, right? So everybody is always looking at what the floor price was, or what the floor price is now, and what the cost was to mint the tokens, right? So lots of project developers will actually start buying back their own NFTs with some of the money they got from selling these, to now create a little bit more hype, saying, oh, these NFTs are going up in price. If they bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these NFTs, right? It would cost them about 2.5 ETH or something like that. And then the floor price would jump up to 0.3, right? So people are now noticing that there is, demand for these NFTs, the price is going up. And next thing you know, more people start riding that wave of buying these NFTs, right? People will start advertising, oh my God, I made this much money on my NFT, blah, blah. But the thing is they'll try and, once these developers are kind of done, spending that money buying back their NFTs, once the hype is gone, no new buyers are coming in, everybody that's kind of left with one of these, not as rare, NFTs from this collection are kind of screwed. Like they're gonna be, then if I, let's say, want to sell, this guy's selling it for 2.75, so I got to underbid him. So maybe I'll list it for 2.7, and somebody sees that I underbid, so then maybe they'll go and undercut me. And then next thing you know, people are just trying to get rid of these NFTs for 0.05 Ethereum, right? So it's a little bit harder to pay attention to something like that. But what you could do is you could go and search by recently sold and try and look at who it was that was buying this, right? So when you click on an NFT and you go to the history, you'll see that this was bought by this person right here, like my crypto balls. So, let's say you clicked on all of these, recently sold ones. And if it was the same person who was buying all of these, that could be a red flag, because maybe that is actually the developer coming in and just buying up a bunch of NFTs to raise the floor price, right? Again, if they just made 1,000 ETH, for them to spend 3 or 5 or 10 or 50 or even 100 of that to raise their own floor price, that's probably going to be nothing, right? And then it boosts up the volume traded, it makes the project look better, right? And then with those numbers, usually the developers are actually taking a cut of each sale, sometimes 5-10%, or something like that. So they also want to create hype for these to trade hands, because they'll also make money in that aspect, right? So it's a little bit hard. I'm not saying that this project here did that by any means. I'm just kind of pointing that out to you guys for stuff to look at, to make sure it's not just like a artificially inflated NFT project with a high price. So yeah, I definitely recommend when you're trying to get into this space, exercise a lot of caution. There's always a saying, like, you haven't made any money or you haven't lost any money until you actually sell it, right? So a lot of people out there, I've heard them say this all the time, I've made so much money with NFTs. I'm like, oh, how much? And they're like, well, like this much money. I'm like, oh, like so how many NFTs have you sold? They're like, oh, none, I'm just holding on to them. If you're just holding on to it and it's worth 10 ETH, but you can't sell it for, no one wants to buy it for 10 ETH, technically you haven't made 10 ETH. You know what I'm saying? So always take profits. This is a space where these things can be really, really hard to sell, and they may become really, really hard to sell down in the future, right? So always come at it with a very, open mind, open perspective, where if you are doing this for money, know that you have to take some money out, right? So if you buy a bunch of NFTs, sell some of them, keep the ones you like more, use it in a way to actually generate some income, and not just hold on to them forever, but then never be able to sell them, and you essentially didn't make any money. So Brad asks a good question. Is it better to buy NFTs on Solana versus Ethereum or any other networks? What is the difference besides cost? So, I mean, it's a little bit hard to answer that question. Is it better to buy them on any network or not? Each network has its own NFTs. Each one can have its own values. Again, it's going to really rely or depend on what the actual use is for the NFTs, or who the artist is, or anything like that, right? On Ethereum is where you will find like majority of the serious projects, projects that are launching on Solana, projects that are launching on Polygon, projects that are launching on any of these on any of these other networks, because it may be cheaper, are definitely trying to maybe take advantage of that type of population as well, that may not have enough money to spend the gas to buy these NFTs. And so the reason that they might think that they want to do it in that way is because these people are dumber or something like that, or and so they're actually taking advantage of that fact and potentially just trying to scam them, right? So if somebody is launching on Ethereum, even just to deploy these NFTs on Ethereum costs a fair bit of money, so they have to be putting in their own kind of investment. And Ethereum is going to be the home of the biggest projects in the future. So I would say that in a way, it could be safer to invest in NFTs that launch on Ethereum versus other networks, but that doesn't really mean that that's always going to be the case. Let's say an artist is launching his NFTs and he wants to do this NFT collection for charity, and he wants everybody to have access to be able to purchase these NFTs. So he launches them on Polygon or something like that because it has cheaper fees. That could easily be a very good project to get into. So while I would try and notice what essentially it's like, if they're not launching on Ethereum, ask the question, okay, why aren't they launching on Ethereum? And try and do some digging to figure out why they didn't launch on Ethereum. You can usually go into the Discord and ask them, and they might have some kind of answer. But Ethereum is also the most secure network, right? All the other networks are very highly centralized. Who knows if they'll even be around for a long time? If the people running the nodes just want to leave, I don't think that I could ever see that happening, but it is, a potential. So yeah, definitely very good question. I would say that buying NFTs on ETH would be the safest. And yeah, so when you're asking about now Rough Life NFT, Jay's collection, it's I kind of like mentioned this earlier. Like I don't know if they changed anything since then, but I was mentioning how their only thing is like the NFTs look cool and they're donating, I think 40% to charity. Now, I mean, Jay's a good friend, but I'm always gonna speak my truth. If I wanted to donate that money, I would just do it directly. I don't really see how me purchasing that NFT can be a good investment for me in the future. Like, I think the NFTs are cool, so maybe if I wanted to buy one, I would just like the piece of art, and maybe I can use it as my profile pic or something like that. Like, maybe that's just worth it in and of itself. But just the fact that they're saying that they're going to be donating 40% to charity, I don't see it as a good enough reason for me to buy that NFT. Now, I don't know if they've added anything, because I've mentioned it to them before. So, I mean, we'll find out. see if they do. There could be a lot of cool things that they could do with that collection, but yeah, for me, just to invest based on that, and Jay is a friend of mine, so like I mean, I'm not just trying to give my friends money for no reason, but if there was something deeper, then yeah. So very good questions, very good questions. So that's pretty much the basics of NFTs, what they are. Now there are also other kind of scams to watch out for in the space. So usually a lot of these projects do like a minting event, and that's what they call it. So like they'll announce, okay, you can be able to mint these NFTs at this time, blah blah, and we're only gonna mint like 10,000 of them, or say something like that, right? A lot of these projects have actually, people are just so excited they get to mint this NFT, and they click on the button mint and blah blah blah, but there's actually like what they're interacting with is like a malicious contract that is actually giving the contract access to take your funds out of your wallet. So then people will be thinking that they're creating these NFTs, but what actually happens is they're giving access to their wallet to these guys, and the next thing you know, these guys just wipe these accounts clean of everything in them, right? There's been people out there that have lost millions of dollars with NFTs, coins, tokens, whatever it is, because they're not doing their due diligence first to actually go and check on the contract that they're interacting with. So every NFT collection is a contract as well. So when you go to Etherscan, let's say I was going to be purchasing this collection here, right? If I click on one of these NFTs, you'll see that up here, it has an address for the NFT contract, and this is the ID of this NFT. So if you take this address here and you pop it into Etherscan, you go to contract, you'll see it's actually verified, right? So, I mean, I'm not going to go too in depth here to how to figure out if any of this code is malicious. These scammers will, make it look as obvious as possible that it's not a scam. But I mean, the first thing, if you notice that the contract is not verified, that could be a big red flag, right? And I've heard of some other crazy things, like somebody, like if you ever notice in your wallet that you just have like this NFT, you don't know where it came from, right? If you try to sell that NFT, like this is kind of what happens. For example, like there's a transfer function in this code, right? Transfer. So okay, so here what's happening is, so this is the transfer function, right? And when people call this transfer function, what's going to happen is it's going to check to make sure they own this NFT token, and it's going to require that the address is not the 0 address, which is the burn address, right? Then what it's going to do, it's going to approve. It's going to clear the approvals from the previous owner for that specific token ID. And what it's going to do is it's going to remove the NFT from the balance of the from. So if I'm sending, it's going to remove the balance of this NFT from my wallet. And it's going to add the balance of this NFT to the wallet I'm sending to. And the owners, so the owners is the group of owners of NFTs, and the ID of that NFT, so in this case will be 2369. So the owner of this NFT will become whoever the to address is, right? So this is like your generic transfer function. Now, if I was to go in and put some like, random code in here, whenever somebody's like clicking on their MetaMask and like clicking this little send function, essentially what the send function is doing is it's interacting with the transfer function of this contract. So now, because most of the people have this exact same structure for tokens and NFTs or whatever, MetaMask doesn't check to make sure that there's nothing malicious in this function, right? But let's say, this transfer function also had, an approve function to approve you to spend, all your ETH, and then it's going to also transfer all of your ETH out of your wallet and into a wallet that they designate as their own. Now you've just literally agreed to transfer all of your ETH to the owner or to whoever it is whenever you are sending your NFT to somebody, right? So I've seen, whole bunch of different types of scams, and people and these developers are getting creative in how they're trying to scam people. But that's just one idea. I mean, not really anybody's trying it anymore because it's pretty obvious to notice that the transfer function looks a little bit different and stuff has been added to it. So they try and get a little bit trickier. And yeah, so I mean, always kind of exercise caution. If somebody sends you a free NFT, or even if somebody sends you free tokens in your address, in your wallet, just leave them alone. Don't touch them. Don't try and sell them. Don't try and, unless it's obviously an airdrop and you know that the project is legit and you can trust them. But if you have like some random tokens, you don't know where they came from, you click on it and they just like sent a whole bunch to a whole bunch of people, chances are it's probably going to be some kind of scam like that where they're tricking you into trying to sell it, but then you're actually giving them access to your wallet. And next thing you know, all your funds and all your NFTs are gone. So yeah, I just want to help you guys navigate the space as safely as possible. So be careful with that. And yeah, if you wanted to create some NFTs, some art NFTs at least, it's as simple as you can come over here to create. You can sign, and then it'll take you to this little page. You can upload your little art piece, put in the name, external link, description, collection, properties. You can add all of these as well, and upload your first NFT. If any of you guys want to launch your actual own NFT collections for generative art, have some kind of use case behind it, kind of like these gambling apes, let me know. I have some experience in coding this stuff, and I have a project I'm working on right now to kind of help people launch this kind of project, but with a whole kind of twist. I'll be able to explain that to you guys once we're ready to announce it. But yeah, hope that helps. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to send them and I will answer them.